Okay. Apparently, we are live. I think that the stream sounds okay, so, where is my, okay, I just completely ruined my entire OBS interface, so that was cool. I usually have this pop out with my chat, I don't know where it is. I did change, like, YouTube live control panel. Okay, I don't care about that. You just close the dockable window. Okay, do not show again. Okay, I found it. There we go. Excellent. I dock the window, and then we make it bigger. Fantastic. Okay. Now let me get my URL here. I'm outside today. I hope that it's to your liking. Hopefully this is the correct link. Fantastic. I think it's the correct link. Okay. Well, I am going to I pressed a button on OBS that I had never pressed before. Okay, there we go. Okay. The setup is super jank today. There's a lot of glare on my monitors because I'm in the sun. If it gets too laggy, I might have to close Firefox. But yeah, so we're working on God, my monitor is not centered and it's bothering me. Okay, so we're working on some fun stuff today. It's UI callbacks, pretty much. So that's gonna be fun. I've been working pretty hard on this stuff, but haven't streamed in a bit. I'm outside today because my room is having some renovations, so I should probably make it so that the top of my screen doesn't say that, and it actually says what I'm listening to. There we go. Now I have to reopen my stream. Yeah, I'm sorry if I'm a bit slow today. I am working outside, but it's cool. I mean, I like the all of the sounds and stuff of nature and all that. It's pretty cool. I'm trying to get to... Oh god, this is frustrating. How do I do I go to here? Okay, there we go. Fantastic. Okay. We're locked in. I'm locked in. Okay. Yeah, I closed literally all of my stuff earlier, so I have to reopen a bunch of stuff. Okay, so the annoying thing here... Oh, great, I'm already lagging. Fantastic. Yeah, I'm going to get rid of this. Hopefully I lag less. Honestly, I think that closing Discord is the play. Okay. If I keep lagging, I might just have to go down to 720p, to be honest. I cannot be coding with this lag. So yeah, this is what we're doing. We are linking IDs to, so this is going to be the hover stuff. Actually, I can just copy this from up here. Also, I'd imagine that the heat is not good for my GPU. Hey, nice to see you. Hopefully you enjoyed the sounds of birds and stuff. I'm outside today. It's a nice day, it's a bit hot. So I am making these hover IDs a thing because basically I want it to all have callback functions for if you're hovering over something, then different stuff can happen. Am I on the laptop today? No, I've got my full monitor out here. They're doing some renovations in my room, so outside. I don't mind. I like being outside, to be honest. The setup is pretty jank. What was I doing? Yeah, I'm gonna need a different array for that too, and a different structure. I think it can just be the same as this. Hey, what's up, Orange? Yeah, maybe this should just be the default callback type, to be honest. It's also the same exact thing as visibility callback. I didn't really... Maybe I want them to be separate later, though. Sometimes if I don't really know what it's going to turn into, it's good to just keep the type separate so that I don't have to refactor it later. Yeah. Okay. So I am going to, I mean, I don't even have anything to init this with. My idea was that, like, you have this so that if you can do, like, fancy animations. So if you, like, hover over a UI container, for example, it might, like, fade in the scroll bar, which might be a bit fancy. So that's why I'm setting that up, even if it is a bit overkill. I'm just trying to think, what even do I put in this? I mean, I obviously know for that case I'm going to make a function. But what would the data be? I guess you might have a timer on it that we could do a pointer to. I'm also thinking just like regular hover. Right now I have... Well, that's complicated. Honestly, actually what I could do here is I could just do a default thing that that points back to its own it's going to point back to its own state. Yeah. So I could put that in its own UI value. Let me see. Actually, no, I probably just want to pass it as keep it as a pointer on there. So, um, yeah, this file has become a real mess as I've just been adding more and more stuff onto it. The complexity of this system is really grown. I did not intend for it to be this intense. This is going to be other callback definitions. But yeah, I have scroll bars working, which is cool. I still am trying to work on drop downs. But yeah, so these are basically the API backends. So basically you can call this from JSON or a script. You can call this toggle bloom or any of these. And this basically sets the action. So if you scroll something or if you press something, it changes these values. And these are just the default API things. I kind of have in the future this idea that you'll be able to set up your own endpoints. I don't really know how I'm going to set up account for that. Yeah, I don't really know how I'm going to do that. I think it's probably going to have to do with a scripting language, and that's just a whole rabbit hole that I'm not getting into right now. What do I want this to be called? This is going to be called honestly, we could tie this to a color, to a hover color. Okay, this might be actually pretty complicated because I guess I could literally just keep it on the struct, the color. But like technically following my own design principle right now, I could just actually malloc this and then make a free for it, though that may be a bit more complicated than necessary, to be honest. Yeah. Yeah, we should probably just put it on the struct itself and then have it point back to itself. But yeah. Um, um, okay, hold on. I have an idea here. The thing is, we need to change the color by the hover color. So we may need both, actually. Yeah, this is strangely complicated. I did not anticipate this being this complicated because I don't cache the draw indices. So this means that I would either have to change the color on the struct itself, or I could cache the draw indices and then point to it. You know what? Why am I actually thinking so hard about this? I could just pass a pointer to itself. How did I do that last time? I had this piece of code that did exactly that. It's under pair, container scroll pair. So I did this with this, retrieve and bind scroll bar. So what this did was that it I've got an idea. Why don't I just make an ID for this that, let's just, for hover color, let's just leave it empty, and then when we encounter the ID, we just bind ourselves to it. I think that that's the play. Because I need the struct itself before I bind, if I want to point to myself. Yeah. This is oddly complicated. I guess I could just make it a... Actually, yeah, let's do that. Okay, I'm just going to add this to the UI val type, and I'll just put in here I still need to bind itself though. Maybe it's important to just have something called bind self, and then we just make functions using that pointer. And then when we load in, I just automatically bind self. So this is obviously going to be void. Yeah, this is suddenly very complicated because now we're doing all these different behaviors to keep it open to changing later. Like, for example, if you wanted to script your own behavior on hover, then you could technically do that and just pass a pointer to something else, which is the goal here. But that kind of hinders our own control over it, and it makes it kind of painful. This is strangely cursed. Okay. You know, I'm vetoing this idea, and I'm just going to, you know, we'll do the thing for the scroll bar, but for this, I think it's just not worth it. You could just literally say if state has a hover color, then we just apply the hover color. If the state is hovered, then we just apply the hover color. Like this, actually no reason to do that. So I'm vetoing that idea, and I'm just going to put here for later. Fade scroll bar. Yeah, I mean this method works fine for example global variables that we have, like our hovered try which we set up and all that. The issue really comes when you want to point to itself. Like over here, I have an idea here. I could just literally say, we could set a certain ID just for this. Oh hey Arya, what's up? I think that we can set just a certain ID for this, and so if for example we come across an action ID, this is going to be a string conf. If we come across an action ID of bind self, then in that case, first of all, I have to put an equals 0 here because I always forget that. Please stop getting in my way. Okay. So if we want to bind self, then yeah. Just wrap it in action function actually. What's the one magic ingredient for UI? It's obviously sitting outside with the wonderful sounds of nature. They're tearing the wall out of my bedroom, so this is where I am. Apparently, I have a north-facing wall, and the sprinkler in the morning hits that side of the house, so apparently there was this mold growing inside of the windowsill, and so that's why I'm in the heat outside. I think that it's cool though. You know, there must be a niche for like, it's like cooler than ASMR, you know? So yeah, if we bind self, then we just pass ourself into the into this. And we can do this on hover too. I wonder if this is just how everybody does it. And in this case, we actually don't have to do this. Where is this? Yeah, UI val. Yeah, I feel like this isn't going to be the most interesting stream in terms of like me getting code done. It's kind of like I'm like thinking through and designing stuff type of thing, which might be interesting. I don't know. So I put the hover color on here. Now we're gonna point to ourselves, replace the color with hover color. I don't know. I could store the draw index. Like, I already do that for text box. The problem with doing that for UI elements is that they have an undefined amount of points. So yeah, I actually have a plug going inside, so I'm really lucky for that. But trust me, you do not want to be out here in this heat. It's actually like 90 something. It's not like my AC really works inside anyway, but you know what I'm realizing actually? We can't actually do that. We can't actually do that. We can't actually do that. You know why? Because then we can't set up a function if we do that. If we do that, we lock ourselves into not having an action function or only having one action function. So unless we want to check for all of the action IDs where we have to bind ourselves, then yeah, so that we can't do that. We have to. Oh yeah, this is the part where it gets cursed, because now if we want to design it this way, we have to have a boolean for all of these callback functions that checks if we bind ourselves or not. Which I'm pretty sure is how everything else software-wise works under the hood, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, but now there's just like something like 80 lines of code that I have to change. It's no big deal. I'm fine with that. That's fine. No, that's absolutely fine. So the reason why we have this boolean to explain this is, so we have these callback functions and we need to defer binding ourselves until we actually load in this UI element and put it in the array, because we don't know what the pointer is yet, you know? So we can't bind itself unless we have the pointer, so we have to set up this boolean to know that we need to do that later, which is really inconvenient now. I guess I feel like if I had like a whiteboard or something, I could like foresee some of this stuff happening, and then we wouldn't have to. But this is what it's all about, you know. This UI file started at 0 lines 2 weeks ago, and now it's at 3,000, you know. And that's just the life we live, you know. This is cursed. The problem with this is that now every single callback needs to have this specific field. I think like even though this is like really annoying, I think that this is like how you design good software. Like, to be honest, I kind of feel like the UI stuff is probably like so far the best design thing in the engine. Because I just never want to touch this again. And also it's pretty easy. Now, am I ever going to need a bind self for the display? Let me check this, because I already have some. I mean, honestly, probably not. But I don't want to bite myself in the foot and not do it, so we will do it. Yeah, I get these weird lag spikes. I was trying... What's up, Manfred? How are you doing? But yeah, so basically the reason why we're doing this is because when we load all of this stuff in, we don't have a pointer yet to... Or well, we do have a pointer then, but of course we don't have a pointer when we're defining these callbacks. Like this stuff we can all set to global variables and known variables, like endpoints that we set up ourselves. But oh my god, I copied the wrong thing. It'd probably be faster just to write this myself, but I'm lazy. Why is this not a thing? Oh. Actually, yeah, why is that not... Why is that commented out? I have these just for like basically references for things that I'm gonna use in the future, so oh right, that's why it's commented out, because we just called it something different. We called it label function. Which is just everything else is named display, and then that's called label, but I just don't want to change the name on every single thing. Yeah, I can't actually see how many people are watching or anything because I closed Firefox to have more memory today, so okay, so now that we have that set up, I mean, first of all, we have to set this to false on every single thing, which I mean, at the end of the day, it's literally just... We could set up a macro to do this, actually. So the formatting of this is good, but... I have to make sure, absolutely sure. Okay, so I didn't put this in here. I'm trying to figure out where I want that in the struct. We're gonna put that after the. We're gonna put that right before the data. Okay, I'm just making sure I'm doing that right. Okay, we have to make sure that we're not doing that because I don't really know how to do macros, to be honest. If I did, that would help a lot here, since these are all evenly spaced. Okay, fantastic. We need to make one of these functions for the hover callback. Okay. Honestly, I might just like straight up drop my. Oh, I can't while I'm streaming. Well, it's just gonna have to be. I'm just going to have to deal with the occasional lag. I was honestly gonna drop it to 720p because, like, who cares for a stream where I'm coding? So now that's done. I was honestly thinking wrapping these in structs and then just copying the struct for where I load it in, but I don't know. I kind of hate wrapping things in structs because what ends up happening is that your code just becomes more and more unreadable. I feel like with nested structs specifically. So I'm trying to figure out where this is. So this is where we bind. It's actually super, super uncomplicated. Because we're just basically just adding an ID to JSON. The load is what's annoying though. Because as you can see here, this is what I was saying. Like, I should just wrap this in a struct and copy the struct, but I just really don't like, how am I gonna do this? I'm just going to replace every, oh my gosh, that's so painful. I'm just going to replace every single mention of action with hover. Okay. I almost ruined everything. That was surprisingly efficient. Is that Helix? Yeah, this is Helix. First person to really guess it correctly, actually. Most people, I've gotten many people that say, I can't believe you put up with NeoVim, which is kind of a crazy thing to say anyway, but it's so funny that people assume that, because I feel like Helix, maybe they just have never seen Helix before. That's entirely possible. I think Helix is really cool. Oh right, I forgot what I was even doing here. I have to go in here and then make us copy the boolean. Now you're really seeing why I should have made this a struct. Good thing that this is actually only called at when we load in, when we load a layout, or else I would just copy the struct. But the reason I didn't is just because I really dislike having embedded structs. I know I'm repeating myself with that, but you're also using Helix? Yeah. I made a video about what I liked about it. I've definitely been getting better at it. In terms of comparing it with Vim, I haven't been using Vim in the past few years, so I don't really know how it compares to like modern NeoVim. But I don't know, I really enjoy it. There's sometimes where it's like super efficient and sometimes where it's a bit painful, but you know. Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, the CIW stuff. Yeah. Um, yeah, it's much less efficient to do like you can go like B to go to the back and then MI this like gets the MI does the it gets the MI and then you do the closing parentheses gets it, but it is on very weird keys, because in NeoVim I think you have like a key that just does the inside, but in here you have to specify like what you're matching to. Okay, so now that I have that, we want to put it in here bind self, so this is actually going to be true. Yes, so going to be true, and then I'm gonna come back to this, but yeah, I've been trying to keep all the API stuff. I should probably put it in a different folder or file, to be honest, but I've been trying to keep it all in one place. So yeah, we're gonna do so this is going to take in itself. So this is going to be a UI element that we're going to cast here. Honestly, this is my first time like really doing like heavy void pointer casting. Yeah, yeah, that's the annoying thing, is that you end up like having to navigate around, which is, yeah, I'm sure that that's hard to get used to. Um, but in recent years, I've just been using VS Code anyway, so. But yeah, that's the thing with Helix. I feel like there are some things where it's just like super fast, especially when you're like selecting a bunch of things and then doing like a regex. Um, but there are some times where you're just like moving around a lot. Okay. Um, okay. So first of all, if not E is container, the GW bind. I don't actually know about this. What does this do? Whoa, really? This is so sick. Wow. That's. How did I not know about this? Believe it or not, I like read the documentation and everything. This is like would have been helping me so much recently. Wow. Because I'm not typically a guy that uses like G and then numbers. Like I have relative number line numbers because I use it like sometimes, but wow. that, that would have been really good to know earlier. That's incredible. That's really good actually. Wow. Okay, so we have to add this as a field to container. We're not using this. Um, I don't know, I kind of got distracted here with what I was implementing. I was not supposed to be doing this today. Um, I'm just gonna say scroll, fade, uh, cooldown and delay. Just yeah, it's like that's incredibly cool. Thank you for teaching me that. I mean, I may seem clueless, but believe it or not, I went through all the key mappings. No, I appreciate that. I mean, I don't really stream to get work done. If I wanted to get work done, I would just do it not live. um, so we're just gonna call this if hovered. Um, so trying to think here. Like we can detect, for example, if I go like if we're either equal or we are um I think that we don't overthink it and we just do this. um, then we just we should just like do dude, honestly, programming this stuff specifically is so slow because it's just so many levels of like complexity to it. um, the annoying thing is that we don't actually have a pointer to the scroll bar for flexibility purposes. I realized like if the scroll bar got deleted, then we would just be dereferencing a garbage pointer all the time, and so I was like, I just don't want to take that risk. So the thing that we have to do here is that we want to we're just gonna have a basically we're just gonna say float alpha equals, we're gonna do a lerp between 0 and 1 by the we're gonna subtract the cooldown from the delay. The cooldown is essentially the max. And then this will like fade it in. All right. Bummer. Okay, like that makes sense to me. So, I think. Okay, maybe not. Okay, it's that divided by the so the cooldown is the max, so let's say 1 minus 0.5 would be 0.5, and then you put that over 1, and then you get the, okay, so you divide by the scroll fade cooldown, and that's how you get it normalized. Okay. So that is going to control the scroll bar. So I'm going to save this to the jump list because I have another function for retrieving the what scroll bar it is. I think we just search this. Oh, what did I call this function? Retrieve and bind scroll bar. I don't know why it wasn't showing up, but yeah, so this. I was just going here to make sure that it's in the header file. Yes. I think we just want to put this here. So we are going to call this function from that function. Ziglang? I don't really know anything about Zig. All I know about it is like it's got all this allocation stuff. It's kind of like focused on allocation, I think. At least from like the little, because I was like kind of looking to pick up a new language, and then I tried Rust for a bit. And I decided Rust because I think it just looks like the code just looks so elegant for Rust, and I really enjoyed that. But as far as Zig, I don't really know much about it, so I don't think I can help you there. But I pretty much only use C nowadays. Should you learn math? I think honestly what's been super helpful for me is learning the vector stuff and the matrix stuff. Rust is very hard for me too, which is why I use C now. But yeah, it wasn't necessarily that Rust was hard. It was like honestly, writing good Rust is just really, really time consuming. Like, and I spent a lot of time with it, like learning the standard library and like how to do what you want. But you end up like writing, like, you end up like writing, you end up writing like for your for loops end up looking like, you know, dot iter dot map dot, like it's just, and then you have to like just you end up just like writing all this stuff, and then you just like sit there and like wait for the red line to appear, and that's the that's the kind of, leave me alone. Okay, so yeah, that's what you end up doing, and I was just like, async Rust. Yeah, I coded some async Rust, so I did a chess engine for my like, just learning it, and I had to do like the UCI async stuff, and it was incredibly like, also atomics in Rust are so needlessly complicated, and like you end up just having to use unsafe blocks, especially if you do multi-threaded stuff. Like, I mean, multi-threaded stuff in Rust is just like, there are just, you know, it's like playing bowling with the guardrails on, you know, um, like it like gets mad at you for every single race condition, and I know that they're dangerous and stuff, but for what I was doing in chess engines, you kind of have to have race conditions. It's kind of the whole point of having like multi-threaded chess engines, is because you're basically voting on the results of moves that you find, and then all the threads kind of come together and then vote on what they found. Um, and doing that in Rust was just, yeah, that's what you get from Max. Exactly, yeah. I mean, everybody wants a safe language, but I don't know if safety is really something that I'd consider like a goal of mine. Like, I don't know. I don't have like any seg faults or anything in my program, that are like still bothering me, and that's what I care about, like any like actual things that I can control. I would rather, especially with like writing something like an engine, or like a big project. I couldn't imagine like doing it in Rust again, or like a slow iteration language, like prototyping in Rust. But yeah, I would, to get back to the math thing, I would definitely learn vector math if you don't know it already. Like, this stuff that I programmed earlier today is like, it's just very simple to learn. Like this vector scaling, and then what else did I do? I did. I actually kind of wanted to show this off because it was cool. I programmed here this earlier. This is a great just example of like very simple vector math. So basically what this does is it finds the middle of a slider. So we take the minimum value of the slider, we take the direction, and then we take the half of the length, right? And so we're basically just like going in the direction of the minimum and then finding the middle, and then you find the direction of the slider, and then you scale it by half of the height. Actually, this should just be extent r again, but, and then you find the tangent to that, which is typically it would be this, but since OpenGL is backwards, in terms of screen space, we do this, and then basically this is finding the normal that is the opposite of the direction of the slider itself. So what this ends up doing is that we're able to make a line that, it's hard to exactly explain, but it's basically like when you have a slider, you have like maybe the line, basically linear algebra. Yeah, it's basically just linear algebra. I mean, the need for calculus is very, I don't know, like, honestly, a lot of stuff you can just copy stuff from online, to be honest, like in terms of like you can just look up like how do I do this and then be able to find like a lot of formulas and just be able to translate that to your language. Like, I don't know. That's what I do a lot when I need like very specific behavior, but in terms of speed, if you want to become like a faster programmer, just like learning how to do stuff like this, like linear interpolation. What I'm doing here is I'm just choosing it's going from 0 to 1, but you can do this with like min and max values of anything. And you just have this function that just lerps between 0 and 1, and what I'm doing is I'm just taking two numbers and then I'm putting this over the number to uh, normalize it between 0 and 1. And this is kind of like I just use this all over the place, you know? So it's just very basic things that you just end up learning. Um, I think actually making a game engine has really helped me with learning what all this stuff does, you know? Um, yeah. So yeah, I also just want to... You know, I've been thinking about this, like, maybe I just make delta time a global variable for cases like this, you know? Like, I don't really know why it isn't a global variable already. I think it was because I didn't want to do this many globals in the beginning, and then I just caved. I don't know, I watched a talk about Jonathan Blow that said that globals are okay, and then I did like the hipster thing, and then I said, okay, that makes sense to me, and then I was just, whatever. So the reason why I'm making this a global is because what I want to do is I want to be able to access this from this function so that I can do C scroll fade delay minus delta time so that we get smooth kind of animations on this. At this point, I mean, I'm making a UI library rather than a game engine, to be honest. Um, yeah, that is true, Arya. That is true. I did. I don't know if you know about it, but Lenia, the cellular automata, implementing that, I basically had to do that from the research paper, and if you don't know about it, it's really cool. You should look it up. But I wanted to do the flow Lenia, full like what's the name of the mass conservation stuff? It was reintegration tracking, I think. Um, to do that, it was very painful. But I mean, to be honest, like I don't know. Maybe I do know a bit of calculus, but okay, what am I doing? Yeah, maybe I do know a bit of calculus. I'm just kind of scared of the word calculus because I like slept through calculus when I was a teenager. The teacher liked me. I just kind of, I don't know. Should just go. The reason why this variable is capitalized is actually pretty funny. It's because I straight up copied some code for this and it had delta time capitalized and I just never changed it. like when I was doing like the setup for the project. um, okay, that should be all I need to make it available here. Um, we're just gonna do this greater than equals just to make sure. Um, okay, so now I have to do the retrieve thing. Retrieve and bind scroll bar, and these are all actually global variables anyway. So the ID is going to be the C scroll bar ID, and then the container is going to be C. Okay. Now, wait, retrieve and bind scroll bar? Wait, this function actually... Oh, this is cursed. Okay, so... Okay, so to save function overhead, I'm just going to make a retrieve scroll bar because I care about function overhead, I guess, and I don't want to split it up. We're not doing that. This is going... Actually, yeah, so this is going to... We just do a pointer to... Do we want just the slider, or... You did some basic C programming from CS50X. Problem sets were really hard to solve. Honestly, I have not done a lot of problem sets or like the Kernahan book. How I learned C was just by doing it. Like, I guess my first language was like Java, and then I've done like a kind of a tour of all the languages. So, I guess like picking up a new language was simpler for me. I've just been doing it for a bunch of years, but yeah, I wouldn't know anything about problem sets, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, learning pointers and memory management is a big part of C, and that's like the hardest part. Um, Definitely. But I think that it's something that every programmer should learn, and it was like really a bad... I don't know. Learning C or C++, I think just instantly makes you a much better programmer because you have to actually think about how your program is going to work, you know? Like when I was in Java, I didn't actually like understand what would make my program faster or like what was good architecture, because object-oriented garbage collected languages, you can just make objects and make inheritance all over the place, you know, and do a bunch of things that memory-wise do not make sense. um, so learning C definitely... This lag is cursed. Now I don't actually think that I'm a like an amazing programmer at all, but I don't know. I don't really know why it did this. I should have just returned null. Yeah, coding with this lag is... I don't know, I thought that setting it to 30 FPS would really help, but apparently didn't. Yo, what's up, Marcus? Do I have any resources for learning memory management? Honestly, there's this really good YouTube video. I'm trying to think what it's called. I think it's like how to program in C properly, or something like that. And that was like an awesome video. Like, you know, it answered so many of my questions about it, because I think when you're programming in C, you have all these questions that you don't have answers to. Like, how is this faster, or is this the way I designed this, or whatever? Like, is there really function overhead? Like, how much does it matter? All of that, you know. That video really helps answers a lot of that questions, and he has another video on his channel that's that specifically talks about like compiler optimizations, and in terms of like errors with that channel is super good if you can search that up and find it. um, First, basic shape wireframes. I'm really happy, Marcus. Good job. That's awesome. If Rust is the new C++, does that mean it also does object-oriented programming? No. There are structs in Rust. Um, I think there are some similar structures. I don't know. To be honest, I was just doing like basic structs, you know, but it also has, I don't know. The whole struct thing is super complicated because of the lifetime stuff. Like, I don't even understand it very much. Is it how I program C? Yes, it's that video. It's how I program C. Um, it's a super. He does like super simple examples, um, but I mean, I don't know. I think it's either that channel or another channel has like how to program good C or something like that, and it's like a series that I kind of watched in the background while I was doing stuff, and that also was a really good. But I don't know. I've kind of like, they're just like random things that you can just like, I think like just googling which window I'm using, i3. There are just some questions that I've like literally just googled, like how much does function overhead matter, or for example, like with following pointers, I always think like, should I just be copying the struct, like just like literally searching up how many CPU cycles is a dereference, you know, and just like being like, is copying this many bytes worth it, and stuff like that. Like, you can just search that up when you have those questions, because I know when I have those questions, I tend to like not search them up. But you know, uh, I don't know how to spell retrieve. I spelled it wrong. This is why you should not listen to me, because I don't know how to spell, apparently. Honestly, I do know how to spell it. It's just, it was lag. Gosh, darn it. Wait. All of this is spelled wrong. Oh, this is why. I spelled the last one wrong. And then I copied it, and it was spelled wrong. I should try Hyperland. Yeah, I thought about... I'm not an Arch. Um, I have like a really bad computer. So that's... As you can see from the lag I get from streaming. But yeah. I was kind of scared to go to Arch or anything that had more updates, because, to be honest, I'm like on a really custom setup on Mint. Maybe I should do Hyperland. Maybe. So this we should probably verify that this is the scroll bar, so if scroll bar, what did I call this? Interactable? Yeah, I did this funny thing where I made every slider have different directions and have every slider also have the ability to be a scroll bar. I don't know, I wanted it to have like all this customizability. So for example, a UI container is what is scrolled. So you add these pointers to all of the children and all of the text boxes and all of the IDs of these things, and then the IDs are what is put into the JSON, so that when you load it in, you can automatically do that. But yeah, it's pretty cursed. I feel like it's pretty easy to make it. It would have been a lot easier if I just like made it a lot less customizable. Wayland is more efficient. Honestly, yeah, okay. Well, I trust you on that. Yeah, I should. I don't know. I already have my compositor off and all that, but yeah, streaming is definitely difficult for me on this laptop. I think it's also having two monitors really, um, really is difficult. But yeah, I have a Microsoft laptop, which is why, um, it's bad. I also have to check. No, I don't have to check anything else. We're just gonna do scroll bar. Yeah, I'm also using unions on this thing. Um, Wait, hold on. Do I actually? No, no, no. I just go to color. Oh wait, I'm doing this backwards. I should just do this. It's gonna early return, but there's no point. Uh, Easy effects for noise suppression. Yeah, I used to have like noise gating and all that, but it just sounded super unnatural. I don't know. But yeah, I should. I don't know. I am outside today, so it's kind of just a. It's kind of impossible to uh, deal with it. So we are binding ourselves here, and the function is going to be uh, fade scroll bar. Okay. So basically, actually, what we have to do here is go to the bottom of the file and then go to where we load in from JSON, and then we basically have to check this, and then just go if. Yeah, we should just do it in here. Also, this is the wrong name of this variable. Glad I caught, to be honest. Uh, we are going to set, um, if we're binding ourselves, we just put ourselves in the value. So, if t actually bind self. Yeah, I do use Pipewire, but honestly, the noise suppression on Pipewire Pulse Audio, it just like, I don't know. It also lags me out. um, Wait, what? No, 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 no. We are not the value. This is the wrong. We are not the value. We are the data. Um, Honestly, I was going to go down to 720p because it's a coding stream. Who cares? But I apparently can't change resolution while I'm already live, so. And I'm not going to restart the stream because that would split the bot up and all that. A laptop so bad that Linux can't even save it. Yeah. Yep. I mean, like, it is made by Microsoft, so. This, like, the. How they made this laptop is actually just so cursed. Like, they definitely did like the 2 GPU thing on this laptop way before it was like stable. There's times where I launch this laptop where it does not register that it has a second NVIDIA GPU. Like literally, um, I often have to launch 2 times. Um, it's just that awful. It's a known bug that the GPU just sometimes does not like register in time on launch. Yeah, it's like a real piece of crap. Uh, but I didn't buy it for myself. Someone bought it for me, so I definitely want to buy another computer, but I'm going to have to make money for that to happen. How would I get into creating game engines? Um, I had a dream for a game that I wanted to make, and I had like actually just a dream of wanting to create a game since I was like a child. Like I had like a little book, a, a journal that I would carry around that like I would like draw all the menus out and stuff. Um, and I don't know. Um, so I started with Unity when I was like 15, and I opened up Unity and I hated it. Like, just like took all of the control away, and I felt like I was just copying other people's textures and work, and so I just kind of gave up on that. And then, but I kept programming for the past like I guess off and on like past 10 years, and then like the past 5 months I've been working on this engine because I had the dream of this game, and I definitely wasn't going to use a whatchamacallit, a a commercial engine because I don't really like commercial engines. So this is the wrong name of this, but yeah. So that's how I got into it. Um, to be honest, this engine is like pretty custom and weird. So I don't know if you should follow any of the designs for it, but uh, yeah, I'm realizing that I have to move all of this stuff down. Uh, this is so annoying. Did I build any game in Java or direct? So I directly started with C. I never all the Java stuff was like I actually was like doing like when I was a teenager, it was the only language that I knew because I learned it in school. So I was definitely building stuff that Java was not made for. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't like building, you know, any sort of like React stuff back then. I don't even know if React was a thing back then, but yeah, I was just doing like terminal applications and like file managers and the odd Sudoku solver and chess game and all that. Um, but yeah, I've made just like random stuff over the years, like in Python I made like some bots and web scrapers and stuff. But to be honest, back then I was kind of just like an awful programmer, so I feel like everybody kind of looks back at the stuff that they made and they hate it, but I don't know. Honestly, I when I was a kid, I went to like engineering high school, so I took like all the engineering classes and calculus and all that, um, and we had like this there was like this regional thing to okay, well this just ruined me, but yeah, so there was this regional thing where like you go to like the capital and then you basically you try out for like, it's basically like a regional camp for the smart kids, and so everybody was entering, and then I entered for programming because it was what I did, and then I entered the interview or whatever. Like we drove out there for like 5 hours with like me and my parents, and then basically he just asked me like, have you made like a website? And I said no. um I I actually have it. And he just basically said, okay, well, we'll let you know. Uh, and after that, I didn't like program for a very long time. Uh, it kind of like killed my. I hate web development. I mean, back then my code wasn't good at all, but I had made like a chess game from scratch in Java because that was the language that I knew and all that. But yeah, I was like showing that off, and it was like all this code, and he just was like, how old am I? I'm 24. So I guess like not when I was a child, but when I was a teenager. I'm messing up all the variable names, and this is gonna cause bugs later. Um, but yeah, so to be honest, it's whatever. I don't hold like a grudge for the guy, but uh, I was definitely like a smart kid, and then after some experiences, I just kind of gave up on school, and then I just started sleeping through class and got a job instead because I don't know. I like got a 5 in like the AP Comp Sci exam, and then I like slept through every other class because I just didn't care at all about it after a certain point. Okay, I think that that's all set up and it's binding itself for all of them. So to explain what I'm doing here, it's so basically when we load in from a JSON or from any script, we we basically are setting up these callback functions that are going to be called later for on all these different things. So if we're hovering, if we action, which is clicking or interacting with the slider, and the display ID is basically for strings, like how we're going to format the string essentially. So we're just seeing for all these things, do we have to bind ourself for to pass into that function? Do I have a job? I quit my job a few months ago. Uh, can you see what the engine looks like? Yeah, I can try and compile right now. I haven't compiled in a while, so I've only worked in restaurants my entire life. Uh, I don't think. How do I get by then? I'm living with my parents. I have not had a very glamorous life, but to be honest, if you want me to get into the gritty details about it, I had my own apartment in New York, and I worked a restaurant job, and I got by for a while, but then I had my first like real serious kind of manic episode, and so since then I kind of have been in and out of jobs. Okay, so yeah, you can't see what the engine looks like because apparently I made a bunch of typos. Um, it's all an entity handler, which I haven't checked, but yeah, I did this big refactor where I removed all the text box coordinates and made them based on the center, so I have to fix that. Obviously, not to say, I was about to say obviously I'm a smart guy, which is kind of funny, but um, I don't know. I definitely have problems with working jobs for long periods of time because I just sometimes I have bad days, you know, and especially I don't know, in America, if you kind of have a bad day and have to leave, you just kind of get fired. So but I'm like all right. It's like, you know, I just kind of stay here and I do my thing, and maybe one day I'll be able to just like not. I think a big part of my problem is like I just need to be able to work when I can work, you know, and having like a traditional job is pretty difficult for that. So yeah, this isn't that anymore. This is also not an integer space. This is also not an integer space. Totally forgot that some of these functions were in here. This is also just regular compute convex hull now and not integer space. I took it all out of integer space. What is in outline? Face reveal when? Honestly, I just look like a pretty normal white guy. I have a shaved head and a beard, if that helps you picture it. You also work at a restaurant? That's cool. Is graphics programming good as career advice? Not seen any graphics programmers before. To be honest, wait, I'm in the wrong function, aren't I? I just like migrated into the wrong function. I don't actually know. My dream is to just like make content instead of, you know, having like a proper job anyway. Because as I said, so I'm not really like sure about that. I think it's like definitely in demand. Like everybody is like trying to break into like web development and all that. So I think it's like one of those things that's like secretly very in demand. Have I tried Vulkan yet? No. Maybe one day. I feel like it's just so much like setup and pipeline stuff that I would get like so bored with it. I'm sure it's like really good for control and stuff. Um, but to be honest, I'm still pretty new to OpenGL. Like, there's tons of stuff about OpenGL that I still don't know. Like, um, I'm still like learning new stuff about OpenGL all the time, especially now that I'm trying to make like my engine kind of scriptable. I'm doing this because with like I don't know if my LSP crashed or what, but I'm doing this without highlighting, which is kind of hardcore. Um, all of this has to be integers or floats. Like, I almost missed that. That would have been really bad. From what you heard, it's good for layoffs. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's kind of one of those things where if you enjoy it, then do it. Like, I'm sure that there are people that enjoy web development. I feel like, I don't know. I don't want to be mean to web developers, so I won't. But it's definitely like a different type of person than somebody that enjoys lower level stuff. Okay, I will take your advice. Okay, there are no other... Okay. Oh, I just opened up another terminal by accident. Oh wait, there was another file that I meant to look at actually. Map.c has a line 2000. Do you think I should learn? Yeah, I mean, it's very possible that I should learn Vulkan. Um, but I was super intimidated because I looked at the like the diagram for the wait, I don't even need to do this. You can just set center equals last m pause now because this is a vec2 now. I changed that as well. Yeah, I don't know. I looked at the diagram of like the pipeline that you have to set up for it, and oh, I just straight up. Yeah. It is one hell of a ride, you know? I don't doubt that at all. I don't know, honestly, this engine is kind of like a long term project, so I probably won't be, hopefully, just scrapping it or starting something else soon because I don't know. What is my color scheme for the editor? I have my own color scheme. Um, you can look up my theme. I have it on linked on my Helix video. I have my theme on a GitHub link. It's the same color scheme that I like use for everything. I made it a long time ago. It was a pain to like port it from what was it, JSON to Toml. Yeah, it was cursed. Implicit declaration is probably a really bad warning to be getting. Yeah. There's also undefined references to toggle UI elements, which is new. For the guy who asked, I'll just like literally just. Oh, right, because I'm failing to compile. Well, never mind. We're locked out of it until I can solve these bugs. Sorry, guy. I thought I added this to the header file. Am I like tripping or like what? Oh, this is misspelled. That's why. They're making Vulkan easier. It's on par with DX12. I mean, I might give it a shot, just for like a small project, just to like figure it out. Like, you know, if it is the future, I mean, I might as well. And if it is super efficient, but like if I was to port over my engine to Vulkan, it would be like pretty much impossible. And I've like spent, this is like probably 20,000 lines of code or something like that. Maybe not that much. That's like probably including all the shaders and stuff. Level student year 11, and I want to make projects to get into a good uni. What could be good projects for this? So I didn't go to, I went to 3 different colleges, to be honest. Never graduated. But I never went to school for engineering. So I don't know if I'd be the best person to ask, to be honest. But I think, honestly, any project that challenges you to learn new things is still got no idea how your project is so big. Well, it's because I add like an insane amount of like unnecessary stuff. Like, I could make a UI system with just like a regular scroll bar that gets bound to an a specific type of UI element, but like just like literally just look at my structs, and then you can see immediately like why it's so big is because I'm doing all this callback stuff with like just any UI element can have any type of functionality that's scriptable. You know, I'm kind of like that with everything. Like the map editor, for instance, like most people's engines just like import .object files, but I have a full terrain editor where you can edit every single property of every single triangle. So I don't know, I'm very particular about things. Yeah, I don't like software that limits you. I hate software that limits you. So even if it makes it quote unquote bloated, my engine, as long as it runs well, like why do I care about it? I don't know. It definitely isn't good for like people are like probably asking like when am I going to make a game with it? Well, I have no clue when it stops growing in scope. You know. What was I doing? I was trying to figure out this undefined map.c. I probably made a typo here. Toggle UI elements. Oh, I deleted this function. Earlier today, I deleted this function because it isn't necessary anymore because all of our visibility stuff is so yeah, we don't even need this anymore. I totally forgot that I deleted that function. I was like so confused why. I haven't like compiled all day, which is really bad, but I've just been kind of locked in. Thank you. I hope that I'm growing. I know that my setup is kind of jank and all that, but I think I don't know. It has a certain appeal. Like I kind of have, not to just like glaze myself, but I have like ambition or whatever in terms of like my programs, in terms of like their scope and what they do. So I think that that's my strength. I think maybe I am a bad engineer, but I'm kind of like an artist, I guess. I don't know. It is taking forever to compile just because it doesn't have thread priority over OBS, by the way. Did a little bit of OpenGL and you have to write so much more code to do less. I don't understand how you do this. Um, so I I used macro quad when I did my Rust chess engine, and that was similar to Relib. Um, but yeah. All right, see you, Yush. Thanks for stopping by. Or if I'm mispronouncing that, I'm sorry. But thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. Um, I left one, and we just sat here waiting so long. But yeah, honestly, you can look up the. I really recommend you to like look up just the boilerplate for OpenGL and just copy somebody else's. Where else? It's in a different file. Oh, because I toggle it from. Uh huh. Yeah, you can just like look up anybody's boilerplate for like setting up an easy OpenGL instance, like just like uh, my init function is just literally I just copied somebody else's stuff, you know, or a long time ago I copied all of this whatever to get started, and then I just kept on copying it every time I make an OpenGL project. Same thing with the nuclear stuff. If you want a GUI library, I just copied this from the examples that they have when you download their folder or clone their project or whatever. They just have a folder with OpenGL example, and you just go into that C file and just copy it. And I never have touched this at all. Did I not save this? Like, or is there another one? Oh no, it actually compiled now. I don't really know what we're testing. There might be bugs because I didn't really get finished with implementing stuff, but I could at least show, for example, the scroll bars or whatever. It's probably going to be like incredibly laggy. I'm incredibly laggy today. Um, oh, it's actually not bad at all. Uh, okay. Well, the menu doesn't show up. Uh, I, you know why? It's actually because of that function we just deleted, toggle UI elements. We didn't implement the new version of that, so that's why. But for the person who asked about what does the engine looks like, yeah, it looks like that. Even though that was a really, I forgot to show it off at all, but so I need to implement that. What I have right now is I have process UI state, which I wrote this only does actions, determine visibility before this so that it happens in the exact same frame, just because. So this is going to be void. I've been calling these determine UI visibility. And because of function overhead, I'm just going to do the loop inside of here. So this is going to take in the classic. I'm trying to code as fast as possible because all of a sudden I stop lagging. And there it goes again. We're going to go through the elements first. Oh, God. I feel like it's not even... Because I'm recording, or I'm streaming from the GPU, and the fan isn't even on, so... Dude, I think it might actually be like something CPU wise that's getting overloaded or something. I don't know, I'm not getting any errors on there. I think honestly what I might have to do is just like change like thread priority on Helix or something like that, or put it on its own thread or something, which I could probably do. So this is going to, so if, first of all, we have to get the element. Don't be stupid. And yeah, I can't see how many people are watching, but if there are new people watching, we do have a Discord that you can join if you find this stuff interesting. So yeah, we're saying if we have a function, which is how we do all this, if we have a hover function, oh no, if we have a visibility function, then we Did I actually set this up to have a boolean? Because that's what it should have. It should have returning from all the visibility functions should be a boolean. No, I put it void pointer. Okay. Oh no, I did put it a boolean. I was reading the wrong thing. Okay. So, that function is guaranteed to return a boolean, so that's why we are just going to set visibility to, we go visible equals so you can see why it's so complicated, this, because I'm doing all this callback function stuff. I think here we just do a switch case classic for the visible. Did I have a value for this? Visibility. Yes. So this is going to, we can copy and paste this from down here. Yes. And all this is doing is just, it's a way for us to cast our void pointers based on type. So what we're doing here is we're still setting the visibility flag, so all of this is going to be visible. Oh, this doesn't return anything, does it? So in that case, it doesn't return anything for a good reason, actually. Well, there's no reason for it to not return the value that it just toggled, to be honest. So let me just change that real quick. We're just going to return. Okay. Okay, so we're just going to set evisible equals this. Yeah, I think it's this. Oh, wait, this is for sliders. This is for sliders. So why does this have a, why is this mad at me? Expression of integer type, y values invalid. Oh, well, that's mean. Oh, no, that's why. I forgot to do dot. Wait, what am I doing? Wait, how did I do this? Oh, it was the type, right? What am I talking about? Yeah, obviously. Alright, peace out. Oh, I'm just reading the same exact comment. Classic. Okay, I should probably also, I need to check if I also wonder if there's like a memory leak. Like that could be entirely possible that there's like a memory leak in something. Maybe there's like a memory leak inside of somewhere. Wait, this is once again just for sliders. Okay. Well, then we just do this if E. I don't know why you would want the visibility on in a slider to be changed by a value, some value that it has on it, but that's what we're doing. So this is the interactable. Oh my gosh, the lag. It didn't used to be this laggy. I changed something. Oh, we don't actually need, we need to check the... Okay. Actually, instead of visibility toggling, maybe we want to just do eColor.a. Maybe not actually. You probably just want this visible. And this we can do color. So up here we get the sliders, so yeah, I never use unions, but they are pretty useful, it turns out. I feel like nobody uses unions, I don't know. This is going to be, wait, yeah, so this is going to be the visible. So this is going to be for every other... You use unions all the time? Yeah, maybe I'm just dumb. That's why you shouldn't take any advice from me. Yeah, my data types are kind of scuffed because I don't foresee things happening, and then I end up just expanding the structs instead of using unions. I just hate refactoring into unions because it's typically a lot of stuff that I have to write out again. So this is going to be functioning differently. Right, if it's not a slider, all I do is I just do this. Oh god, what did I just do? I'm going to try to use this more. All of this casting pointers stuff is something that I never do. But yeah, that's basically it. We're also going to I don't really know about this because this is... I just kind of wanted it to be a toggle, I guess, for when it's a button. I don't really see any other way to, like, without making it very ungeneralized, I would basically have to, like, basically add like an arbitrary value. Technically I could put it on the struct, right? Like, we could say like that there's a scale that this is being modulated by, so it's like, instead it's like 0.1 that it adds instead. So I could do that, but I just think like you should just make a function probably to put in the callback anyway, if you're gonna do that. Okay, so I need to figure out where I'm actually calling this function now, because I think that this is pretty much done. I guess I'm going to call this from this lag is like kind of unbearable. I'm gonna see if I can change a setting or something. Like, does it allow me to change my bitrate? I don't even know if that's going to fix anything, but okay, maybe that helps a little bit. I don't know. I think honestly I might have to change terminals to something else. That's not like GPU driven, maybe? I don't know. Focus. So where are we calling this? We process UI state, which I call from... Where do I call this from? I call this on UI change, which makes sense. But that's the problem with this, is that when I determine the actual inputs, I don't even remember what the function is called. What is that function called? Is it here? Process UI state? No. I'm apparently lost in the sauce right now because I made this earlier. Handle UI events, this is what it's called. I was apparently just missing it. So this calls it. This has to call the visibility thing before this. So this is going to be... Okay. We also have to do the text boxes, which we haven't done, but it's going to be pretty much the same thing as the UI elements. I could technically just try and see if this works before I do anything else, though, because I genuinely don't know. I think I set up for these. I did set up visibility IDs for these, so these should automatically get loaded in. If I was right. How long have I been live? 2 hours? Okay, that's good. Okay, so we need to loop through the text boxes. Honestly, I'm like very tempted to just copy the exact same code. I don't know where it would be different, but the only reason why it's separate is because they're separate structs. But yeah, they have the same exact you know what I'm realizing? We have this if visible function, and then we're doing this if. Typically, we don't actually, we aren't wrapping this in the else, but I'm trying to think if for visibility. The reason this is structured like this is because you might have data that's on the struct and not a pointer to data that gets passed to the visible function. And so you kind of want these to be, like the way I have this for the actions and everything is that I just do it like this. And if you have both, then you just call both functions. And I don't know if that's correct, but I think that that's the pattern we're going to try to do. Where is this? Okay, well, I think I just had an extra one there. Okay, yeah, I was gonna copy this code. Okay, I should undo that and then paste it again and then search this for this and then replace all of these with okay, right, we don't need this slider stuff. Because boxes, believe it or not, text boxes can't slide, actually. That's something I didn't implement. Maybe I should implement that, that would be funny. Okay. So this is the compiled version without that code that we just wrote, but it's with the hopefully going to toggle visibility on the UI elements and not the text. It's 93 degrees right now. I love on the weather app they put this, feels like 96. It feels hotter than the actual temperature. You think? I was getting a haircut recently, and the the salon assistant, stylist, whatever, was asking me, you know, something about the weather here versus New York, and I was like, okay, so this doesn't work. I just straight up lied. Like, I was like, I said, yeah, I love the weather here. I would much rather be in air conditioning than have the heater on or something like that. And I just lie a lot to people in the service industry. Um, I think I lie to them because I've worked in the service industry and I like it when people are like super nice. uh, yeah, why is this not working? Maybe I need to print out something, but am I not calling the first function that calls this function, process UI state? Or what? Oh, no, no. I lost the function again. It's called, what is this called? Called, this is called process UI state, isn't it? This function? No, it's a different function. I have to find it from here again. Handle UI events. That's what it's called. Yeah, I mean, I'm calling it, so. Why or how people prefer hot weather? Yeah, it boggles my mind too. It also boggles my mind. Like, we were also talking about this whole beach thing, and I was just like, that I wasn't going to lie about because I personally hate the beach. Like, I just don't get it. I've never gotten it. Like, you feel gross after because of all the sand, and it's just a miserable experience. Like, there's just people all around. Even if you go to a beach without people, I just don't. I will never understand it. I'd rather like go into the woods than to the beach. Like, I don't know. And it's also super weird because it's just like you're just surrounded by like half naked people, and that's like the. I don't know. I just will never understand it. It's always made me like slightly uncomfortable being at the beach. Um, uh, how is okay? So where we should go is actually the visibility callbacks. and then see. So I have one set up for pause menu, and it just has a boolean that is player pause. Which should be working. I'm not gonna lie, it should be working. Oh. Since this isn't an action, we shouldn't be toggling it. We should just be setting it to the value. The sand getting over. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I have just like sensory issues where I just like feel everything to like such a extreme degree. I don't know if that's like, I've never gotten tested for autism, but the reason why I hate the beach is just the feeling of everything is just, it just doesn't make sense to me. Like that why people would like the feeling of sand, and like then you have to like drive home with sand all over you. Like there's no way to get it off because you have to walk through the beach to get to your car. Like, I don't know. It's just crazy to me. It's bizarre. Yeah, so we aren't toggling pools at all. I've also just found in general, though, that I don't typically get along with people who like the beach. Like, not to sound like a jackass, but, like, I don't know. Honestly, to me, it's like an immediate, like, we might not get along if you like the beach. It's just. Some beaches have showers. Yeah, they have showers here too, but they're gross. I don't know, maybe it's different in Europe, but at least here, the beaches are just gross because there's so many people at the beach here. Always. So what I think we were doing is that we were toggling the player pause boolean instead of just setting it to the value of the player pause boolean. So it was just for every UI element, it was just flipping the switch. So I hope that I mean, in my mind, it would be like flickering, but maybe it was just hitting false every time because it's like odd numbered or whatever. Yeah. I have one good memory of going to the beach, and that was just with friends, and it was probably just because I was a teenager and we were drinking beers, and that's the only reason why it's a good memory for me. Okay. I already did the bind self stuff. To be honest though, I need to also do this on change for the editor thing. So that's annoying, but yeah, to be that's actually gonna take so long to do. Yeah, because basically how that works is that we have to go to change action here. Oh wait, actually it's just the same thing. It's not that bad. We have to do the same thing that we did earlier. So, I gotta start practicing this GW thing. It was actually kind of crazy. This guy just came in here and then just dropped like the craziest tip of all time. Never. I did not see that in the documentation. So that's, I think that's all of the toggles for. Is it really just action and visibility, or am I missing one? I'm missing one. Because now we have the hover one, too. Okay, let's launch this so that we can see. Yeah, I totally forgot that we have the, this is also super annoying. This nuclear thing is so annoying for getting text inputs, because what we end up having to do is that you have to check all of the flags at once so that you have this massive comparison thing, because if you have it just after each buffer, then the last flag is going to trip the keyboard lock, so you have to defer it to the end, which is just disgusting. Like, it's like insanely awful. This is going to be so what I'm doing is let me see if this is good actually. Okay, yeah, this is doable. I probably should not have done this, but this is fine. Yeah, so what we're doing here is I'm making it so that you can edit the ID, and then it automatically retrieves that callback for editing purposes. Okay, we finally loaded in. Dude, like, it still doesn't work. It still doesn't work. To be honest, we're out in 90 degrees, so my computer is probably 90 degrees. So that's probably got something to do with it. So we have to go down here to where we actually check the flags. Wait. Why do I check them here? I don't think it really matters. But okay, so I'm just gonna add the hover flags here. getting to the point where I have to figure out if I want to make another iced coffee and then keep going, or stop soon. So I have to figure out what I'm gonna do. Okay, I have to do some printouts to figure out why this isn't working at this point. I can never find this function. I put it in the little place. I thought that would fix it, to be honest. This is called, I forgot this function like 3 times already. What could be going wrong here? Hold on, let's open in a split where let's go to I think it's process UI state. It's not. Let's just go to this. Should bring this to it. So we rebuild UI in text draw buffers, which is a function that should, if elements I visible, okay, so I'm just going to print out this, and then we'll also print it out here to see if it gets changed in between. I'm trying to think, like maybe I'm like fairly sure that the pause value is what gets checked. It's in yeah, we're definitely using player pause to display stuff. And we definitely are tripping player pause. Wait a minute. No, if it's true, then you want the menu to display. Let me reread the code about it. I thought for a second that you might want the variable to be inverted. Pause menu, player pause, UI val type pool. Okay. We just had a funny like thing that just happened to me where I think I just realized what the issue is, and I just realized that I'm like actually really stupid. Okay, I'm like incredibly dumb actually. So that's why this isn't working, because the UI just never actually follows that that ID and registers them. I just forgot to implement that. Honestly, that's where most of my bugs are nowadays. It's just me forgetting to implement something. Is this going to work if I just say if action ID? I guess I just have to try it. Who knows? This is only for prototyping, so I'm not even going to make a separate function for this. Oh, this is the text box one. It's the same code, I think. I'm actually really surprised, to be honest, that, oh my god, what did I just do? Okay, I'm actually really surprised that I'm not getting bitten up out here with the bugs. I was really scared about mosquitoes, since there's always mosquitoes out here, but I think I lucked out, to be honest. Yeah, I can't do this. I have to do, I have to initialize it to an empty string. I have to initialize all of these to empty strings actually, which is just, it's just wonderful. But yeah, the JSON reading is fine. I have these here for prototyping, I guess. I mean, maybe I should just get rid of them. I don't know. I just don't want to hard code a JSON, so I just have to. Did I just call it a JSON? Who says that? That's not something that I do regularly, just so that you know, it's JSON. Hey, what's up, Pent? I'm setting a bunch of strings to nothing right now, which is a ton of fun. I'm missing something, aren't I? Yeah, display. Okay, so let's just put these all next to each other and then just copy them down. And delete the ones that we don't need. I forgot the keybind to not automatically copy the what you just deleted in Helix, and that would be very useful, to be honest. I'm missing one. I'm missing the visibility ID, but I think I have that filled in for everything. What am I doing? Yeah, now we have to do the ones for the, yeah, these don't have these only have these. I don't know why this doesn't have this. Oh, because I didn't want to. Oh, because I, yeah. It's actually so funny because I've like watched back my streams, just like parts of them, and then I just noticed so many bugs that I make just because I'm like distracted and talking. It's honestly like super embarrassing. I've got to get better at it. But yeah. I'm missing hover ID here. It's Alt D, yeah. Okay, thank you. There's just some things that there's some things that happen to me that are like slightly inconveniencing, and then I like get to a point where they are inconveniencing, and then I just like continually just like don't fix the thing because it's annoying. It's like a constant thing that I do. Okay, we're gonna select this text again and then do I hope I'm doing this in the right way. Okay, we're just gonna wind back time there, you know. To this hover. There's just no way that just happened. So we're going to replace this with, this is visibility. Wait, I have some. I also hate when I do that. It's like, why is this not? Oh, is this visibility? I hate when I do that, when I call variables. I also really dislike how the R replace is, it replaces the entire thing. Like, it should just replace the cursor. Like, that's all I use it for. So I don't know why it doesn't just replace the cursor. Like, in what world would you want to replace an entire string with a character? Like, it's a useless function. I'm spelling this wrong. Okay, thank you. Okay. Hover, visibility, that's all for the UI elements. If I did all of this right. It's super cursed when I I do this thing now where I type in my terminal run because I don't know. It's like imprinted in my brain from doing like GDB. There have been a lot of sigvaults. Is it a C thing to have 3K plus line files? Yeah, I think it is, to be honest. I think that there are like so many projects of just like, for example, like if I go to like CJSON and then just go to definition on this, like how long is this file? Okay, it's not that bad, but this is a header file. If you actually go into the implementation of these, I'm sure that it's in just one massive file. I would have to go into cjson.c, but yeah, it's in a 3,000 line file. I almost pressed quit instead of buffer close. That would have been bad. I don't know, maybe it's a sign that I'm a bad programmer that my projects are big, but I don't know. I do things in a very particular way. I don't do things in the way that most people will probably do them. Like having hover callbacks for scripting functions for when you hover over any UI element, for example. To be honest, at this point I'm making like a UI library that's more extensible than Nuclear's, if I'm being 100% honest. Which is kind of annoying. I mean, it can't be worse than pirate software. Believe it or not, not the first person to say that. I don't know much about the guy, but I don't know. I used to play classic WoW, so seeing him in Dire Maul North rat out like that was kind of like, I don't know. It's really funny because I'm someone who's like, been in scenarios like that, and what is my motivation for programming? It's a good question. I've done it since I was a kid, or not like a kid, but a teenager. I've always been like as soon as I first learned my language, like Java, and I was in NetBeans or whatever, like the teacher didn't teach us how to do like how to make programs. It was all like just like cat dog inheritance stuff. This still isn't working actually. Let me see the debug. Nothing is printing out. Let me check if I saved the file. But anyway, yeah, so I think for me it was just the fact that when I was in high school I would go home and I would just like program like Minesweeper and like terminal stuff, like just because I just really wanted to do it. I don't know. More positive towards the code base. Like you seem to be fighting it. I don't know what you mean by that. Like that I'm negative about it in what I say. There was no debug printout. It's just which means that none of them are getting toggled. Actually, that's what it means. Uh, uh, oh, I know why it is. Because I don't actually cast this. I hope that that's the bug. I feel like that would still be actually like setting it to visible, right? Like that's the pointer is greater than 1, so uh, hold on a second. Why am I setting these to different things? That's just a typo? Okay. That is a pretty big typo. Yeah, that's value is wrong there. It's all visibility. Actually, yeah, let me just like select a bazillion things here. Oh, I missed up there. I'm just going to search value and replace it with. It's one of these things where I don't actually think that this is the bug though, because it is a boolean. Hey Isabel, what's up? Why'd I use C? Is it because you're just interested in the low level stuff, or are you aiming for a job and want to extend your portfolio? That's a good question. I mean, to me, it's just the language that I enjoy programming in. It's just, it's a very simple language. It's very easy to prototype in. I never really liked like garbage collected languages like Java and stuff because I never really knew how to make efficient code in those languages. I would just kind of take the lazy way out again and again and again, and I would write programs that were slow and inefficient. And I don't know. I feel like I get really annoyed with how bad code is nowadays and how slow everything runs. Like, I feel like things were built better. GC is super lame. Did you mean C is super lame for game dev? Yeah. I mean, we can see if that was the bug. But I feel like without casting that pointer, it still would be setting the flag to a positive value. So I just. Like, the pointer is definitely not 0. WebAssembly, right? Oh, garbage collection, yeah. Yeah, definitely. I also just like I've programmed like curl web scraping stuff in C. I just like I use C for stuff that you shouldn't use C for. Praying for a JavaScript downfall. Yeah, WebAssembly is really cool. I toyed around with it in Rust, but I never got like super into it. I could also just be checking the pointer and not be lazy and just print out the pointer. Like, I just like have been super lazy with that. Where is this function? Handle UI events. I have a print statement here. Yeah, that's what I'd say. I like C because I like C because the thing that I hate just like as a person is when I do something and it doesn't matter because someone else messed up. You know what I mean? When I mess up in C or when something is wrong in my program in C, it's 100% my fault. Like, for example, I hate how this laptop was made, and I think it was made very greedily and with really bad hardware. And that just bugs me a lot. You write slow TypeScript and PHP all day? Yeah, that's why, I don't know, I try to do like React and like break into web development, but I just hated it. Like, I don't know, I just really hated it. I've never really understood like I just really dislike like calling APIs and just all that stuff. It feels like kind of pencil pushy to me. But I mean, then again, paying the bills would be nice. That would be nice. I also probably could just like learn to enjoy it. I don't know. As you see, this UI library has just gotten to the point where it's like we're doing like callback functions on hover and stuff like that, and it's just gotten to the point where it's like really complicated. Yeah, if this doesn't work, I'm probably just going to add a, where was I? Yeah, it still doesn't work, dude. Wait, hold on. Let me make sure that this is, just large-scale data transformation. Yeah, I could probably learn to enjoy it. I'm sure that it's also like pretty fun just like having problems all the time that you just like are on your desk. You know what I should, that it like, you know, keeps it fresh or whatever? I should be checking that. Uh, I should check that we're binding something in the first place, actually, because that might be the issue. I also have this, though. And this is not returning anything, so it probably means that that isn't happening, but it's... Okay, so we're just going to set, like, multiple print statements here to, we're just going to actually print out right here when it's not a slider, but when it's just a boolean, and just see if we get in here. I don't know, to me, like, actually prototyping just straight in C has always been, like, super fast for me. JavaScript has always been annoying because, I don't know, it's like you always have to learn some library or some other abstraction, like, and I don't know, to me that just takes so much time and, like, energy. I would just rather do it myself, if it's going to be faster anyway. Yeah. I think I might have, like, heat stroke, to be honest. I'm giving Terry Davis vibes. That's good. I, believe it or not, I definitely relate to him. And I also, I don't know, we share that same, like, I think, kind of curiosity, childlike curiosity about things. Where was this? This is not where that's set. Well, we should just compile then, because I want to see this. It's kind of annoying that it takes so long to compile when I'm streaming. That's when I know I'm having fun. Yeah, it's just because I didn't compile, like, all morning, and that's, like, really bad for me to do. I guess I've just been, like, drinking coffee and just getting stuff done, and now, like, the past 20 minutes I've been looking back and, like, all of a sudden this isn't working, and I kind of thought that I would set it up and it would work. I should really just, like, put it in here also, a print statement. Though it should absolutely get in here. I also added all of this, like, self-binding stuff that may have messed something up. There's a lot of points for things to fail in this is the problem, because basically we're setting IDs now, and that checks, like, an array of IDs, and then it sets off kind of a string of things. Oh. Okay. I am setting this. There's nothing. There's just nothing is printing out. Like, what? Am I losing it or what? I should also try to go into editor mode and then see, like, I may have just, like, refactored something wrong somewhere. Yeah, honestly, I mean, I'm on Linux, so I can't really... To be honest, usually, stuff just kind of works okay. But yeah, I agree. It's definitely useful to have a debugger sometimes. But to be honest, I'm not used to having a debugger anyway. Hold on a second. I just had a moment where I just think I realized something. Yes. Yes, dude. Oh my god, it's a fucking typo. Dude, I knew it. Like, I knew that it was something dumb. Yeah, debugger is not catching my own stupidity here. This is just completely... And this is why I should have wrapped this in a struct, dude, and just not had this, because I, like... Dude, I'm, like, really bothered by that, actually. God, this lag, too. Okay. Yes, so that's the issue. that has been bugging me for like the past 20 minutes, and I was just like completely lost at where it was going wrong, and I just was binding it to the wrong thing. I mean, I use GDB, but that's what's my compile time? My compile time is a lot faster when I'm not streaming. When I'm streaming, my computer doesn't work. Yeah, it was just... Yeah, debugger's not catching that. When I have a seg fault, I use GDB and it's fine. But yeah, that's just my own stupidity here. It's just like... Dude, it was me just copying and pasting this code down, and then I just yeah, whatever. There's no point in getting mad about it, I guess, but yeah, it's a bummer. Yeah, I compile in like 20 seconds if I'm not streaming. Maybe less, to be honest, probably like 10 seconds, and then like 15 seconds to launch. And that's with generating the light map, so so here we're just doing the same thing for the text box. I just want to replace every variable that's E with a box, and then it should be similar. I do need to change one thing for text box and stuff. That's why we're not making this sequential. Yeah. It's like really fast, and it runs fast. I run this stream on a Microsoft laptop, so one of those crappy dual GPU ones with a display that disconnects. So it's like, of course, it's going to be like incredibly janky and laggy. I need one thing extra for text boxes, which is the display. I hate when I press T and then that's always a bummer. I should just get into the habit of doing that anyway. Hold on, I pasted that weird. No, it's just pasting weird because it copied weird. Oh my god. Whatever. I made a video about why I love Helix, and then I just spend like so much time just hating it. Yeah, it's a Surface. It is a Surface Book. Someone bought it for me a long time ago. So it wasn't my choice, trust me. If I could have literally any other computer, I probably would. We're replacing hover with, what's it called? It's called display. Also, display function isn't a thing, and display value isn't a thing. We know this. It's called label. So I didn't want to change a bunch of variable names. And I really regret that, to be honest. Did I just compile twice in a row? Time to get a ThinkPad? Yeah, I probably should, to be honest. But like, the reason why this is so laggy and crappy is just because dual monitors. It does not play well with having a second monitor, but streaming without a second monitor is just like awful for me. At this point, I'm like wondering if I okay, so the fuck are you talking about, man? It's telling us that we're visible, but we're not drawing anything, which is just actually just so confusing. You know what? Actually, hold on a second. Wait a second. I did change this. I did change this to just center. I refactored like a bunch of stuff this morning. This all looks good. Just for making the squares. I could also print out the points. But that looks good to my eyes. But now I'm thinking actually that it's a drawing issue, because I did change a bunch of that. Just draw it. Yeah, I thought that the X and Y just didn't matter since, what are we talking about? I think I might just print it out, the points, but I'm also... Wait, I just had like a hold on. I just had a moment where I may have just realized what's happening. Oh my fuck, dude. Do you want to see something funny? Like, you know, actually, uh, John Romero has a quote where he says that the greatest tip for good development is catching errors early and compiling every 15 minutes. And I obviously didn't take his advice. Because that error would have been found, like, immediately. Also, okay, so we have to find out where the relevant code for the text boxes are. This should actually work. Wait, this isn't even the code. I don't know what the function is called. Yeah, the problem with me compiling is because I'm on stream, it like lags my computer when I compile, so I'm incentivized to not compile. So John Romero's best tip for development, yeah, exactly. I mean, to be honest though, I think I'm unfortunately more of a Romero than a Carmack. I hate to say it, but I would definitely get fired from ID. I think the function is called, we just add it straight up. We don't, we do the, x equals textbox center dot x. No, this is why we aren't drawing anything. It is actually the start. It's because I refactored this fax and I changed like a bunch of variable names all at once, and I changed this to center instead of start. But this is this x is the cursor position. I'm definitely not a Steve Jobs. Are you kidding me? That is crazy. If I was a Steve Jobs, I would not. If I was a Steve Jobs, someone earlier wouldn't have said that I'm giving off Terry Davis vibes. I'm trying to think. The dx and dy, is that also? Yes, this is also the same exact thing. This is also supposed to be start. I'm actually like, I might just search the entire project for box centered, because I don't think I was paying attention at all. I think I just like changed every single variable to center. Yeah, obviously I lag a lot when I compile, so that's why. Dude, like, why? We are still not drawing. Yeah, I changed everything to center. But this is only text boxes, so that means that there has to be something off with the elements as well, still. Which, it might actually be on the add element drop over if I'm... C is still center. I mean, everything should automatically be center for the UI elements. Everything is projected out from the center. Like, the center was always... I could print out the points too. I mean, honestly, I think that... I don't know. I try to keep my mouth shut. Because I don't know, I look at all these popular YouTubers, whatever, they just, you know, they just don't say their opinions a lot, and they get pretty successful, so I feel like maybe I should take a page out of their book. But maybe that would make me Steve Jobs. But yeah, I think that Apple is just a company that makes cell phones. I feel like this is unnecessary to print out. Oh, I already have a printout for all the points. Why is this... Oh, because this is when it was still floats. Yeah, I mean, it's also probably like a similar thing with every single startup and their big head guy and the engineers. Like, it's probably like a similar thing with like Facebook and any of those companies too. I just really don't like when like people like Steve Jobs get all the credit, you know? Also, credit for what? No offense. Man, where would this be? I think I'm just going to search and then just go through these. We never call that. That looks fine. Sam Altman. Move UI element, we don't call that. Good question, actually. Did I, maybe I commented out the width? No, I didn't. So what I did this morning was that I changed all of these. These basically started at an X and Y, and then we just computed the center later, and I just changed it to hard coding the center. And I didn't check it out if this worked. Which is really bad. Maybe there's still a bug here. Yeah, to be honest, I don't have any like real opinions on like people that are in like the tech world today. Like to be honest, I don't really. Let's change this. Yeah, I think we're just gonna have to print out the points, to be honest. This is like way too complicated. Crucial part of progression. I don't know. I kind of feel like I'm a boomer. Like I don't know. I don't really agree with like. Yeah, exactly. People think that ChatGPT actually like thinks, you know? Like it's just bizarre to me. I guess I'm a kind of old school guy. Like I don't really trust new hardware or technology. Like I mean, I also don't agree with like the way GPUs have gone, gaming in general. I don't really agree with the overpriced GPUs. Not, it's not necessarily that they're overpriced. It's just that they don't do anything. And I don't agree with like pushing ray tracing just so that companies can make money off of remastering games with a team of 10 people using AI art. So to be honest, I just kind of stay away from the whole like new software thing, new hardware thing. Yeah, I agree with that. Well, the thing is, we're definitely binding. Yeah, there's a bug somewhere that I had earlier this morning that I didn't compile, and now it's. Yeah, I think LLMs are pretty like impressive for what they do, but they're you've also got to understand that the fact that most of the user base of them doesn't understand how they work, it's obviously going to be used incorrectly. Um, I forgot I had all these other printf statements. Hopefully, wait, what? Okay, well that actually means something that I didn't consider. But yeah, it's not even getting into the draw loop, which is bizarre. Hold on a second. Oh yeah, that's for the slider extents. It's not. Yeah, I mean, I agree um, with all of the like the obvious like activist stuff and all that. Um, I just think, to be honest, like there's just a lot of people making money off of. I don't know. Yeah, it's actually bizarre that we don't get into. Oh, wait, what? Oh, I had this one. Man. I mean, technically, the outline could be trimming itself based on the values that I'm giving it. That could be something. Um, and I may have just like not thought about the values or copied them right. Yeah, I remember back with like the first chatbot was just like a bunch of just like made up sentences, you know, like Cleverbot or whatever, like all those years ago. Um, yeah, they've come a long way. I think that they definitely have their place and they're useful. I don't even think that that was a real AI. I might have to figure this out off stream. I've been live for a long time. I could barely write full sentences, but when yeah. Back then it was like brand new. I remember I also like had my first conversation with it. I was like super amazed, even though now it's like maybe old technology. Don, maybe it did. I don't even know. I always thought that it was just like it just spat out random sentences, kind of. Or like there was some internal logic, but it was just like definitely wasn't an actual neural network. Yeah, if it's not getting into the draw buffer, then I just literally don't know. But yeah. This is I'm going to go to here. But yeah. If I can't figure this out on the next compile, I'm probably just gonna call it. I've been kind of locked in. I forgot how long I've been live. Yeah, it's all rules based. Exactly. Yeah, that's what I assumed. Wait a second. I just had like I just had an idea. Wait a second. When we flip the visibility flags, we of course have to flip the UI change. I just never. Okay. Now I feel kind of dumb. I mean, that was just one of the bugs, though. So it looks kind of like a joke, but we actually do have to copy and paste this a bunch of times, actually, into each switch case. And the reason why is because there are cases in which they don't have these fields. Yeah, I mean, this is kind of why you compile more often, because if I compiled a long time ago, I would have caught this bug very fast. The thing was, I just didn't think about this because I was like, okay, well, if I flip it to visible and then, we're just going to flip it on action. But of course, you have to flip the flag when it's set to visible so that you draw. Yeah, I'm exhausted from being out here. Jeez. But yeah, I might, for anyone that's new, we do have a Discord that you can join, if you're interested in this stuff. But yeah, I'm probably going to stream maybe tomorrow or the day after. I want to keep up with it. Because I've been, haven't gone live in the last, 4 or 5 days, so I just didn't because I didn't want to sit out here in the heat. Thanks, Tom. We'll see if this works. Yeah, thanks for coming by. Hopefully all the sounds of the birds are nice, I think it's got to be pretty peaceful to be listening to. I don't know. Yeah, this is how long it takes to open. Jeez. Okay. Fantastic. Okay. So we finally see the menu for the first time today. Which is excellent. Unfortunately, I can't untoggle the menu, so there's that bug. Okay, well, hopefully I'll fix these problems with lag, and so we'll compile more next time. But all right, guys, I'll see you later. All right, peace out.